Everybody, we're here with Tigers manager AJ Hinch. We have a question for AJ. Just put a note in the chat. We'll start with Chris McCoskey.
Hey AJ, can you kind of take us through like what all the drama was like? What precipitated? Were they mad because there was no warning given to the dugout after Lang hit Jose?
No, I think they were just mad that Jose got hit. And let me just set the record straight. Like, there's no reason to hit Jose Abreu, like, really, ever. I mean, he does everything right on the field. He had nothing to do with anything. We had 2 strikes on him. If you throw the ball out over the plate, he destroys you. So we threw inside, it hit him. And I think given that they'd hit one of our guys, he went aggressive into second, a little old school, and in the slide, and then tensions got a little bit high and emotions got high, and then we're all out on the field. So, I don't see a reason to think that anybody was throwing each other. I don't think they hit us on purpose. I don't think we hit them on purpose. You don't see that a lot anymore. But I think emotions just boiled over because of the entire event.
It's hard for you to answer, but do you, because when Abreu went hard at second base, it looked like Nico was backing off and Abreu kind of went in at him. So he was still steaming about getting hit, you feel like?
For sure. No, it hurts. Yeah. 97 at the elbow hurts. And again, at the time of the season, we want no part of anybody on the other side getting hurt. We're going to compete and play hard and try to pitch them tough, but there's no reason to hit them. But it hurts. And that used to be how you took care of it. You used to run to second base, and if anybody got in your way, you took a hard, aggressive slide, which he did. I don't know if words were exchanged out there, but I know the dugout started barking quite a bit, when Abreu got hit, and that everything just got elevated. So
yeah.
Luckily, calmer heads prevailed in that whole deal. We had emotion, everybody pushing and shoving a little bit. We get off the field and get back to the baseball.
Speaking of the baseball, you guys again look pretty dead in the water. It's just a case where you, like you said many times, you need a spark, and you got the bases loaded with Miggy was the only hit in that stretch, and then kind of went off. That's kind of impressive the way you keep doing that.
I mean, as bad as the inning was, where we gave up 6 and gave up free bases and a couple big hits, we gave up. We took advantage of a couple mistakes. We got on base. Miggy let us off with that double, and we put up a 5 spot. I mean, you're right. We were not very active today at all on the bases. We had a few opportunities early, but nothing to really show for it. We got a couple extra at bats that we, don't normally get, and couldn't quite get the big punch to get to Keuchel, but I'm proud of our guys for how we fought back. I mean, I don't like losing, but I do think that we made a game of it when for much of the day, it didn't feel like we were in control of that game at all.
Trevor Thompson.
AJ, before the game, you were talking about your team turning double plays, and you wish you'd have turned a few more along the way throughout the season. But 3 here today. What did you think of your double play combo and how that played into the game for you?
Yeah, execution was way better today, and that those guys, we escaped some innings that we were having a hard time with. I mean, obviously the most unique one was the strikeout throwout with Haas, in the first inning, and then a couple of ground balls to Nico. To Isak does a really good job around the bag at second, and we were able to get 2 for 1 in a couple instances. So sure, that's something we're going to focus on in its entirety, as we get towards the tail end of this year into next year. But when you see what happens when you can control some innings, when you can take outs away from them.
Also wanted to get back to Miggy's double. He started the season with a home run at that park, and then final game here gets that double, and he was able to leave to a nice ovation. How do you feel for him in that moment, and what that might mean to him in the final home game?
Yeah, no, Miggy's been terrific this season. In the clubhouse around our group. He's posted, played a lot of innings at first. I mean, I think Miggy, he wants to get to the finish line healthy. He's grinding quite a bit. He's got a couple of nagging things, but he can still hit, and he's showcasing that.
And my last thing is the 5 walks for Manning. Why was he having issues finding strike zone today? What did you see there? Thank you.
Yeah, no, he looked out of sync, out of whack. Really inconsistent with his delivery. His pace was slow. Body wasn't moving great. It just didn't look like he could throw the ball where he wanted to. We didn't have a ton of pitching today that we wanted to go to, so we stretched him as long as we could. It obviously hurt us in that 6-run inning, but for Matty, the strike zone was pretty elusive today.
Thanks, Trevor. Jason Beck.
Yeah, AJ, just kind of piggybacking off that, I think Matt's now, by my count, given up more walks than hits allowed over his last 3 starts. Are there just times when he's his own worst enemy out there?
He might be trying to be a little too perfect. It can get that way, and then it piles up on him a little bit. He's going to be a really good strike thrower, so I think this is a little bit of an anomaly. It's not his norm. I think his delivery can get a little bit too scripted. He's got to remember he's a pretty good athlete. We love the days where he's pounding the strike zone and can go wherever he wants, and when he can't, we've got to figure out a solution to get him back on track faster. The runaway innings, the multiple walks in a row like you saw today is a development hurdle for him that he's going to clear.
Especially after the Grandal home runs, that kind of one of those little, I guess, tipping points there where you can't let that get out of control and become a runaway inning.
Yeah, the walks really are the ones that led to most of it. The home runs we're going to talk about, hits you're always going to talk about, but falling behind, having the opponent be able to take away a pitch or two that they know you're not going to use because you're feeling your way through it. You're not a real 4-pitch guy at that point. They're really picking one of the secondary pitches or sitting heater the whole way. Offenses like this that are elite, when they hunt something and they get it, then they don't miss it when they have the account advantage.
And when you're a manager and something like this fracas happens in the late inning of a late season game, how much fear is there that somebody's going to get hurt or just something's going to break out that's just going to lead to suspensions or worse?
I mean, they have more to lose than we do in that sense. I mean, it's the end of the season for us coming up next week. They've got the playoffs, but nobody wants any trouble. But we're going to stand up for ourselves. I mean, when people are barking about us throwing at guys and we're not doing it, I mean, we're going to stand up for ourselves, especially at home. We weren't throwing at anybody, but yet when somebody calls you to the carpet, you have to stand up and defend yourself. But we don't want fights, and you don't want people haymakers out there and guys getting hurt on either side. But when emotions are high, things like that are going to happen. So fortunately, everybody took control of the moment, and we got back to the dugouts and continued playing.
Even after that, though, did that raise the intensity a notch in the dugout?
Sure. It's a 1-run game. We worked our tail off to get back in that game, which is another reason that we're not going to drill Jose Abreu with 2 strikes. I mean, we worked our tail off to even have a chance at that game. And so, yeah, the intensity always goes up. Those at-bats at the end were real. Liam Hendricks is out there screaming and pumped up and doing what he does. I mean, I think on both sides, people wanted to win that game, especially after that stuff happened.
Thanks, AJ.
One more for AJ with Evan Petzold.
Yeah, AJ, just to stick with Jason's question there, it looked like they were yelling at you across the way. I mean, was there anything specific that they said that frustrated you, or was it just John back and forth?
No, they were yelling at Lang. And then I'm going to stand up for my player. You can fix your own players. I'll manage my team. So that's all I was mad about, is no reason to bark at Lang. You can bark at me or you can bark at the umpire. And that was really what the exchange between the 2 dugouts were. I'm not even sure who was yelling over there. But that's where the frustration came between the 2 dugouts. But again, the umpires took control of it and we moved on.
For sure. And there's the last thing real quick with Matt. It seems like, we've seen times this year where he doesn't allow the inning to snowball. And then there are other times where he does. Is that just part of, development and first year and stuff like that? Can you kind of just chalk it up to that?
Well, we're going to keep looking at it. We want him to finish strong and on a better note than today. Luckily, he's got another start. Happens to be against these guys again, next weekend. And he's got a lot to work on from start to start. And it starts with getting back in the strike zone. He's going to be more effective the more strikes he throws.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Evan. Last question we have, AJ. Thanks for the time. We'll have Eric Haas next.